Hello preppers, welcome to another video. Today's video is by request and it's a nuclear survival plan in the UK. So I've been asked, what do you do in the UK? Because there's no public shelters, not everyone's got basements and cellars like they do in lots of other countries. Very few people actually have them here. So what do you do? This is very bespoke to every person and every circumstance depending where you are. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take you through a series of tools that I will link in the video, and they will explain what to do, not necessarily what to do, but give you your options there. Okay, so we'll start with this. This is nuclearsecrecy.com/nuke map. It starts off in like Washington DC. You've got to zoom out and drag your little detonator over. So what you need to do first is identify in the area you live the most likely targets for a nuclear attack. So major cities, obviously, like epicenters of major cities, military bases, especially larger military bases, air force bases, things like that. If you live near the coast, any sort of naval base. So for example, here I'm going to do Manchester because I'm in the Lancashire area. Okay, so this is Greater Manchester down here, and this is Lancashire. Now I don't think there's many targets. There's a few military bases but nothing major just here. But I think Manchester would be the biggest target, the most likely target if it was hit. On the right here, you can just type in the name of the city, but you can also select what bomb. So I'm going to go with the Tsar bomb, the largest USSR bomb that's tested. There's a 100 megaton one that's been designed, but this is the one that's tested. So it is one of the largest ones. Smaller nuclear blasts obviously won't have such devastating effects. You've got basic options like airburst, surface, other effects, radioactive fallout. So if I just leave it on airburst, that's the most likely scenario for it to be an airburst, and hit detonate, boom. So this shows you in the green, yeah, you're gone, you're vaporized. In the yellow, just outside the next layer, that's also the fireball radius, very unlikely to survive that. Heavy blast damage in the red area. So if you're anywhere within here, almost, if you're anywhere within the red, you better be underground. Simple as that, or you just need to be out of there before it goes off. As we get further out, we've got moderate blast damage here. So most residential buildings collapse, injuries are universal, fatalities are widespread, chances of fire starting in commercial and residential damage is high. Buildings are so damaged a high risk of spreading fire, often used as benchmark for moderate damage in cities. Optimal height of burst to maximise this effect, 11,500 meters. So that is again still pretty deadly. You'd want to be underground or out of that. Then we get to this outer circle. Now you can see how far that's gone out there. See it flashing on the screen? This is light blast damage. So glass windows can be expected to break, many injuries surrounding the population. So like, that's your shockwave. So if you're near the windows, stuff like that, that's where the injuries are going to occur. Weaker buildings, weaker walls will come down, chimney stacks might fall, etc. Think of a really windy day. And then here is the outer circle. There is still 3rd degree burns, thermal radiation radius. So have a look at your areas near you. I mean, ideally if you're outside of the detonation area, it should be pretty minimal. If you're just inside this outer circle here, staying indoors, you're not going outside, etc., taking right precautions. If you're in here, a bit more. If you're in here, then obviously underground. bear in mind this could be multiple detonations. So when you're doing this, if you've established an area, like if you're going to bug out, in this case to, I don't know, Harrogate, then you might want to look at the next nearest target over. If Hull is a target, that will overlap, so you want to be somewhere further here. So just bear that in mind. Think about it, it's all guesswork. You know, they could drop a bomb in the middle of nowhere by mistake. We don't know. It's all guesswork, but we can only prepare what's best. On here, you can clear the effects. You can also say radioactive fallout, detonate again. Based on the wind, you can see this radioactive fallout here. Yeah? So if the wind's going a different direction, obviously that. Now, fallout is what we can definitely, this bit here, we can definitely bug in for. This you want to ideally be outside of, but this we could definitely bug in for. And let's have a look at that now. So we've established we're outside the blast zone, or we're inside, but we've got correct precautions. Next site is the cdc.gov site. I'll put the whole link below. And this just says, if you're indoors during radiation emergency, which would be the fallout, or the very outside of that circle, stay inside, close and lock all windows and doors, go to the basement or middle of the building. Radioactive material settles on the outside of buildings, so the best thing to do is stay as far away from the walls and roof of the building as you can. So if you've no cellar, then you want to be ground floor. If you've no room without windows, you want to be the most central room you can. So I've got, for example, in this house, I've got a front room that's got a window and a front door. I've got this middle room that doesn't have any windows, but it is open plan to the kitchen that then has a window. But there is more space there. So I would choose this room, and I'd probably block up the open plan with as much stuff as I could. Next site is ready.gov. This is just showing a visualization of what I've just said. So you don't want to be out walking your dog, obviously. You don't want to be in your car. If you're in a small house like this, the outsides, it's safer than obviously being outside, but the safest is in the centre. Same here, centre or basement. Big public buildings, centre or basement. So just think of whatever building you're in as the shell, and the nucleus protecting the cell, for example, and you want to be smack bang in the centre, the safest place you possibly can. Seal all gaps, especially in that fallout zone. So here you can see that these have been taped using plastic sheeting, and the tape, it's always, if you're not going to keep all the plastic sheeting on hand, if you can, great, but if you're not, then just the tape will also help. So just taping up the gaps will help, but the covers is even better because it gives an extra layer, especially when it comes to the windows. It's an idea, if you've got the sheet, big thick plastic sheeting, as thick as you possibly can, if you can pre-cut it, measure it to size, write on it what it is, fold it so you can see the writing. So you've got them in a grab bag, you can see front door, front window, back window, etc. Yeah, you know what's going where very quickly. This is something that you will have to do in a very short period of time. There's a PDF here, which again I will link below, and this is preparing your emergency supplies. Now, if you're not totally new to this channel, this should be very basic for you. Food, water, shelter, etc. Everything you need as a basic prepper for the first 30 days of survival at least. Okay, now if your plan is to bug out but you don't know where to bug out, I will link this site. Now take this one with a pinch of salt, because this is shelters, or emergency shelters, bomb shelters, etc. So if I go down to the same sort of area, so we just detonated in Manchester, these are the locations, but you need to check what they are and the status of them. So here is Oldham Civic Centre. If I click on more, number of reports online of a council nuclear bunker under Oldham Civic Centre. Inside the hidden Cold War, never seen photos of Oldham's secret bunker. Reports say 1997. So that might take some research to go and figure that out, if that's something that's a viable option, and if it's something you could actually get access to in an emergency. Okay, some of these are small, like there you go, Preston ROC Group HQ. So if anyone knows about these ROC shelters, these are from the Cold War. You're lucky to get 3 people down them. Different ones are tiny, some are bigger, but it's this, see this behind the cabin there, that's it there. Again, depends what access. This looks quite a big one here, so it depends what the access is, and if it's abandoned, if you could get into it in an emergency situation obviously, or if it's actually used. If you get there and there's military guards there, you ain't getting in. So do your own research on that, but that's a good map of every possible option for you there. Next, of course, every prepper's dream is building your own shelter. Lovely. Now, if you've got a basement or a cellar, you can easily adapt it to put a secure door on, strengthen it up, that can be your shelter. Great. I will link all these pages. This is a WikiHow page, it shows you multiple ways of doing it, one including like what it would cost to do a shipping container one. I know the prices in dollars, but you can easily find the prices in the UK. This survival prep store has a page with links to different types of cellar, root cellar, bunker plan, and it's got links to the plans for each of them. Yeah, concrete shelter, it's got guides, etc. So it's multiple types of shelters and the guides, I will link that below again. Now, if money's no object, obviously you want to get an architect on the case and you want to be getting something like this done. I'll link to that anyway. If anybody does get that done, please let me know, send me the address. I'll be around when the end of the world as we know it. So, I mean, that's the ideal. Let's just close that for a second. That's the ideal scenario, if you can get a shelter of your own, if you've got access to somebody who's got a cellar or a shelter. If not, sentry your house. If you've not got a room without windows, improvise that, do whatever you can. If you're in the blast zone, it's going to be a rough ride. Get under your stairs and pray. If you're not in the blast zone and you're on the very outside of it and it's radiation you're concerned about, then make sure you're taping up all the seals, access, stuff like that. If you're in a room like me where it's open plan, if you can build a wall, furniture, clothes, anything, ideally if you've got sandbags that you can have on hand very quickly, anything like that, to make this a solid room, then that's even better. With hanging the sheets all, over the gaps and stuff, I'd also recommend like a thick blanket over the windows, just stop that extra. Double glazing is obviously better than single glaze, but either way, get a blanket over there as well if you can. Make sure everything's in place now for that. So have your plastic sheets cut in a box, have the blankets, which one's going where, in a box, how they're going to be fixed up, if you're going to pre-put a couple of screws on nails up there that just sit there and then they can hook on. Whatever the plan is, you need to be able to reenact it happening within 5-10 excuse me, trap wind. You need to reenact it within 5-10 minutes, yeah? Okay. Is a couple of things that I've got in my Amazon basket which are coming this week. Okay, so I thought I'd share this because I'm getting these. I'm going to put the links in below. I can't give you a review on them till I get them, but off my research, this is what I'm getting. So first, foremost, iodine, potassium iodine. Okay, you can get anti-radiation tablets from a survival shop. They're the same as this. They'll charge you double for half the amount, but they're the same as this. Stock up on these. This is 365 tablets, and these are high strength ones. If you don't think you've touched any radiation, one of these a day will keep you okay. You can up the dose if needs be to avoid radiation sickness. 3M duct tape. Now, I have got tape in the house. I've got duct tape in the house, but it was from like a bargain shop here in the UK. Quality's not great. 3M's one of the best you can get. That's one of the best prices I've found it for. So I'll link you to that as well. And finally, if you've got the luxury, this EMF meter. It's an EMF radiation detector. So this is good just to see how safe it is, monitor them levels, and if nothing else, you'll know, right, I need to be doubling up on my iodine, and stuff like that, or it's not safe to go outside yet, it's not safe to try and get out. So this is worth it for £25. It's got multiple functions, EMF reader, electromagnetic fields, things like that, but purely as a radiation detector, bargain. 4.4 stars with 45 ratings, so should work, should do the job at 25 quid. It's a no-brainer for me. I hope that helps. I cannot put a plan together for you. You have to look at your own situation, your family, if you're bugging out, how quickly you can do it, and where you're going, where you can get to. Don't just bug out to the middle of a field or a hill or in the middle of the highlands, what people think, without a really good survival plan or a location to go to. Okay, you don't want to be wandering aimlessly, get caught in a radiation cloud, and yeah, it's not a way to go. So as long as you've got all your other preps and everything's in place, just plan based on potential targets around you. Link all them tools below. Make sure you check them out. The 3 products I'm buying will also be linked below. Click on them, stick them in your basket if you want them as well. Well worth it. And thank you. Hope that does help. I hope it answers the initial question, and I will see you all in the next video. Bye. Yeah.